level I'm playing at, I should be able to win regardless of
I think you should
if
be
the
able to.
matchup is a Sheik.
I think that you should be able to win that matchup at any level. I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's 10-0, not even close. But
No, I don't think so.
I think that we're like also kind of like being a little generous to Samus and a little disingenuous to Sheik if we're saying that like yeah, 50-50, no cap. Like no.
It isn't, but I don't think it's that bad.
No, it's well, okay, out of curiosity, how playable do you think it is? Like what would you give it to? Like who wins? What percentage should Samus win in terms of game count if they play like 100 games equally distributed between the 6 levels?
I mean, so the way I usually think about it is, assuming that the both players are doing the right frequency of options that they're supposed to, like they're mixing it up
Yeah.
correctly and they're executing properly, Sheik should win just around, yeah, like around 58-60% of the time, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I have it I have it 6'4", 65. So like, I think that I'm on the lower end though. I don't think I'd give it 65 nowadays. So yeah, I could see that. Like I think we're probably going to agree more than we disagree, and it's going to be by small margins. So no worries. Um.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sorry.
No, no. Go
To
ahead.
put it in perspective, one of the local Sheik players at my local,
Mm-hmm.
my best results against him have been in the Sheik Ditto as
Hmm.
opposed to in Samus Sheik. But
Yeah, Sheik Ditto's also like a really like stupid matchup. Like
it's a weird matchup, so it's like,
you just like count. It's like wobbling, but you can both do it. It's
yeah.
so let's talk Sheik Samus because that's what we got here. So why did you pick this set, and what are we looking for today?
I think, well, one, it's a matchup that I think it's probably my worst matchup based on results and definitely how I feel.
Okay.
Like, I think with other matchups, like against Puff and Peach, I feel like, okay, like, yeah, like I can't punish super well and can be annoying to kill, but I never feel lost in neutral. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of am like, okay, well, I mean, it's gonna take a few more hits, and there are charge shot confirms that you just go for.
Yeah. So
But
they're
with
like,
Sheik, it feels like the in between like, the super fast characters that you can like kind of reversal and try and like punish quite hard, and then the floaties, which you can play a pretty neutral, focused game where you have like you rely on charge shot more. It feels like in that kind of uncomfortable in between for me.
what would you consider
And
Marth?
it's like you can punish Marth. I think it's easy for me. It's easier to punish Marth than Sheik, which is like,
That's a little
I don't know if
weird.
that's
That's a little weird, but not that weird. Like,
because,
because Marth is lighter, so he's easier to actually kill. Like, you can.
yeah,
And then the way that he recovers is kind of bad versus Samus, I think, because
yeah.
she just, like, can fall off with Nair. She can go off, like, with a bunch of different positions, create obstacles. Missiles are annoying because his moves aren't, like, out for very long. So, yeah, that'll make sense. Whereas Sheik, like, Sheik just has, like, the kinds of tools you'd want against a character like Samus on recovery. So because she can like swat the missiles with like fairly low lag things, she can like nair and sex kick through things. She's also got like a lot of ways to reversal and steal ledge. So yeah, no, that makes sense. So that tracks.
I think the main thing I struggle with in terms of Sheik's recovery is like when she lands on stage. I mean, we'll see in this set a lot where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I feel like when I go into a set, I don't know what to like. I don't know. I overthink edge guards so often. I think it's like doubly bad against Sheik because you
Yeah,
have to rinse repeat a lot.
yeah. She's very her edge guard, like the edge guard on Sheik is very formulaic. Like the worst thing you can do, in my opinion, is like try to be fancier than she demands. So let's
Hmm.
so striking to fountain. I'm going to assume that this is like. Did you have the last strike? Out of curiosity.
I don't remember,
Totally
but
fine.
I think I banned Battlefield for sure, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they banned Stadium and Dreamland. I think
Okay.
were the two bans. So I think I was between Fountain and Yoshi's, so I went Fountain.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like I've changed my mind about what stages are good to strike in this matchup. I just know, honestly, any stage that's not FD or Battlefield seems like it's equally like good or bad.
Yeah, it doesn't really like it change things much. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So, I like what you're doing so far. So, walk me through the general game plan. Like, what do you do right now? So far we're playing the ground. We've used the missile. Then we've kind of gotten hit by in a scramble against by Sheik. Like, I think she used her shield or something, which happens. But yeah. So So what's that? So you go for that double up aerial, and then you go for the missile. What's the up air supposed to be getting you there? Like
percent, and that's it.
Couldn't we just fair then? Or like
yeah,
nair?
fair would be. I find up air's like, yeah, fair's a higher reward, but up air's easier to hit in that spot. And it's more. Yeah, I think fair is definitely better there. It's
okay. So the up air is being picked because it's easier to hit, though.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, got it. What makes it easier to hit? Is it just where it comes out, or?
It's like the hitbox. It's like kind of sharking Sheik from below is kind of easier than trying to meet her like horizontally.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. But do we have to necessarily try to like meet her horizontally with fair? Like fair hits, I thought, kind of high above you, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. I think the main thing with fair, which I definitely don't use it enough in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing is, like, a lot of Sheik's game plan in this matchup is, okay, Samus likes to stay on the ground, crouch cancel, try and reversal, and, like, tilt and aerials, right?
Yeah.
So what the Sheik naturally will do is, okay, Sheik is going to try and go for these late aerials, go for needles, those kind of options, which means, calling out with a fair earlier, because they're throwing out their hitbox later, it ends up being quite good. So I think, like, the main game plan, I think, for me, is usually try to make Sheik up in the air before she can go for these late aerials, which...
Gotcha. There's only one problem with, like, that, and I know that's how, like, a big component of how this matchup is played, but I think that there's, like, one big structural problem that I see with it, with approaching it that way. And I think that we're starting to see it here. So, my concern here is that we are not playing to any of Samus's actual strengths. So do you see what I mean? Like, we've gone, like, if we're constantly going up there to meet her where she is and playing into her game, we're kind of, like, opting out of doing the things that our character is good at, even when we're in, like, strong positions to do it. Like, so I'll give you an example here, because it just came up. So we've got Sheik, like, basically pinned right now. We get this good nair, and then, like, we have the opportunity to play our ground game, and, like, we get back into neutral here, and we jump into, like, the needle zone. But I like, from my point of view, this jump does not make sense. What's the plan with this jump, though? Maybe I'm wrong.
The plan is to a lot of Sheiks in the corner kind of panic jump, or they full hop jump with needles.
Okay.
So I think when I'm doing this jump, it's either to catch like a full hop out of the corner, or I'm trying to nair the Sheik trying to go for needles.
Okay.
As the main one, because I feel if I'm on the ground here, isn't it harder to avoid the needles when you're on the ground as opposed to if you're like kind of outside the triangle?
Kind of, but
I guess I could run into the corner, but
yeah, exactly. So like, let's make a handy dandy diagram.
Okay.
So we have the blue line is just the floor of Fountain of Dreams. It technically should be a little lower. I don't really. We'll get over it. Needles aren't really 45. I think they're like more like a 50-degree angle. That sounds about right.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. We'll just pretend it is. But here, my point is, so when Sheik is traveling up with her jump, right? Does she hit like? Because when she's falling with her needles, like she can hit basically any of this area, more or less. So my question here is, when she's traveling up with her jump, can she actually hit? Which lines does she hit?
Furthermost left and the middle.
Right, so when she's going up from here, because this is her starting point and she's going up, then the needle range moves out with her. And when she starts descending, it moves back.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a wave motion, like kind of like a wave crashing in on the shore, sort of. Or like when the tide rolls in and then pulls out. Same idea here, really. So all we want to do is we just want to figure out, like, if we see her jumping up like this, if we're on the ground, we can all we have to do is just get past the line. The second we're past the line, she can't hit us with needles.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I mean?
Okay.
No. Like, does this make sense, or do I sound like I'm talking crazy?
Let me just like, okay, so I understand, like, you move, move past the wave, right?
Yeah.
So either you end up either outside the threat range, or you end up making it super awkward for her to throw needles, and you can simply whiff punish.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to figure out is, I guess she can't really see, because I was like, what I worry about is when I run into the corner like this, right? I'm thinking, okay, she's charging needles, I'm gonna run under her, right? Because that's where she's weakest. Couldn't she just, like, not throw the needles and then just, like, double jump to top plat?
Okay, so where does Sheik's moves hit on her? She could do that. Let's explore that. So I'm gonna start making some labels on this, just so we can keep track of what's going on. So you're gonna be Samus over here, and we're gonna give you 1. This 1 is your starting position. This Sheik over here, she'll be gray because she's boring, and then this will be her 1. So basically, you move. Actually, this should be her 2, because yeah, we're moving up in response to her rising, so she goes to that spot. So your 2 should be basically like here, right? Like as you're coming in. Cool. So this is your 2. Nice. So in response to that, she sees you here, and what can she do? Like you're probably around here to here, depending on how fast you move forward. So as a Sheik player, as Sheik, someone who's played the Ditto, remind me, where do her moves hit on you, like relative to her body?
Generally either
like out here, right?
Yeah.
We'll
back here.
It's kind of like here
too.
The
cardinal directions. Her downer isn't really, like, the downward hitbox isn't really good.
And then
generally
like here, up here, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So if she double jumps, how does she, like, can't we just go up after her?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because she doesn't have anything here. Like, we're here, we just back air her. Like, as she goes forward, we just back air her, like, at this part of her, and yeah, we just hit her.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense, or?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, does she get on the platform and shield by the time we get her back here?
Well, where do you think she's jumping from?
I guess, yeah, from that position, she wouldn't be able to jump onto the top plat.
Yeah, she'd have to, like, go all the way up and then all the way down. That's so much time. Like, you'll have that entire jump motion to, like, work with to, like, hit her.
Okay.
So, like, what I'm wondering is how fast do you think Sheik is, and how fast do you think Samus is here?
They're pretty similar in terms of aerial speed.
Okay.
It's like, because Sheik's, like, horizontal aerial trajectory, like, speed isn't that good.
Right.
But
so I know that we describe it really as, like, the Sheik needle triangle, but really it's more of this, like, diagonal thing.
Okay.
The goal is to really just be under the diagonal. Like, you can be under it, or you can even, as some characters, you can even go over it. Like, depending on how, you've probably done this before, but, like, you know, you can kind of jump over short op needles and stuff, and sometimes just nair her because of her Samus's high jump. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I think that's what I go for.
Okay. So there you go. So this is just the other side of that, because what they could do to deal with that short hop nair is they could just shoot the needles higher up. Like, they could go, like, instant double jump needle. They could go, like, full hop needle. That's kind of the idea here, right? So, But if they're committing to a higher trajectory, this line is higher. So then that means that it's easier for you to get past it with, like, dash wave, dash forward or something like that. And once you're under her, then all it is at that point is just a matter of, like, just dealing with her free fall. And you've got ways of doing that. Yeah, this would actually be a really good spot for that up air that you like to use.
Cause, like, I think fair is the higher reward, and then generally, like, in these spots, when it's higher percent, like Nair and Bear, get a lot of reward.
Well, Bear,
But I think I do
Bear
definitely.
Bear is good at low percent, I think, right? Because like if you short hop Bear, you can probably get something off it, or no? Am I wrong on that?
I think it sends too far if they DI out. They just get ledge.
You're probably right
that's still
on
a good
that.
situation.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give this to you, and I want us to just kind of think about this general dynamic of like Sheik's aerials in general. Because the other thing that we haven't talked about is that like once we're behind her, if she's falling with back air or something, her back air like even like let's say that she's closer to the ground and we get behind her past her back air, right? Like let's say we crouch or something over here. Her back air is much more down smashable than her auto cancel fair is, in terms of like being able to do it on her landing lag. And I think that by constantly going into the air, we're losing the opportunities for things like that, because we don't have access to those moves in those positions. So that's just kind of a general thing I want us to keep in mind, because I think it's important to know like what the big moves and the big payoff moves that our character wants to hit are. And like down smash and down tilt I think are two, like, maybe not at every percent, but I think it's hard to deny those are like very important open ups for Samus.
Yeah.
Good job getting back. I don't know why you stayed near him though.
On the ledge dash?
Yeah, so like here, watch, you'll see what I mean. So you go through the effort of getting on stage in this amazing position, and then he whiffs a move behind you, and like we're still next to him.
Yeah, I thought I could maybe shield an F tilt and then wave dash out after that. But...
okay. So you were doing a prediction confirmation. Okay, fair enough. Like that is a thing.
I was just waiting until an aerial or tilt hit.
Okay, but if you wave dash away, you can still like wait for some of those. Right?
That's true, yeah.
So it's like, I think one of the temptations with characters like Samus is sometimes we can like want to trade with them a little bit more than we have to, or like want to tank with them more than we have to. But a lot of times if the opponent's giving you like time to just reposition into a better spot, we should probably take that. I like that fair. So why didn't this fair do, like, what happened with this fair? Like I like the choice of it. I'm just trying to understand like what went wrong with it, kind of. Why are we shielding so much? You're at like 0. You can just like crouch. Like at the top platform, what is the shield doing for you?
That is a good question. I mean, the main thing I think was like, oh well, if they do like a nair here, then I can get a shield drop fair. Is what I think I'm looking for.
True. So if they...
The reward for that is nowhere near if I just CC down smash.
Or yeah, CC down smash, CC detail, like that's that's the type of opening that can like like on top platform even too, so like they don't have as many places to go. Like yeah, that's the type of thing that can, take a stock or like do 50 damage or 60 damage or like crazy things. So yeah, I think that it's just what I'm noticing is that there's you're very worried about getting hit. And as a result, you're really limiting yourself, I think. Like, you're trying to beat her to the punch all the time, but part of the perks of Samus is that, like, you are allowed to lose some of these, like, early game, neutral game, like hit and runs, and they're not really the end of the world. And I think that, like, that's kind of what this shield represents to me, and that's also kind of what the vibe I get from the early aerials, too, because you're trying to, like, just not let her hit you. But what I'm saying is one of your perks is it's not so bad if she hits you in some of these spots, especially in the early game.
Okay.
Because, like, yeah, like, think about all the times you've seen, like, Plup or Duck or Hugs or any of them, like, or, like, Silver, Wevens, Morse. They're getting beaten up by the Sheik player, and then, like, they've gotten hit, like, 3 times, and then they, like, hit, like, some crazy counter hit. Because that's possible partly because they got hit, because that's information that they're gathering about, like, yeah. And this is part of why I think this is the I don't want to get hit, because you had a really clean opportunity for an aerial interception here that you just kind of left on the table. Do you see what I mean? Like, she flew up like this.
On the down smash or
on the free fall after the down smash. Like, look at look at how close she gets to you, and you walk away from the back air. Instead of just, like, short up back airing to, like, cover that.
Okay.
Like, do you think that there's anything to this theory about like not wanting to trade, or like do you think I'm just talking crazy, or like?
I think the main thing is like I do have a problem with like I generally try and shield too much and just try and like okay, I'm just gonna shield and just maneuver my way into like a favorable situation as opposed to just tanking the hit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like kind of based on like oh well like I don't when I play against Sheik, it's like oh they know I'm gonna crouch, they're just gonna just like throw moves like I'm just gonna eat percent without getting that much reward, but it's definitely like um, it's definitely a bad game plan, bad way to go about it. I think. In terms of like
She just jabbed you twice. I'm just gonna point that out, and forward tilted you. So like, I think that I think we can safely discard the notion that this guy is playing like that any player is playing just like the absolute safest version of the matchup at all times.
Yeah.
And like, look, you've pulled it close basically because you were willing to punish those things and play to your character's strengths. If you don't show your character's strengths, I don't see why the opponent would play around them.
That's fair,
yeah. Yeah. And like the thing is like you're not really leveraging the matchup advantage, like the unfamiliarity or like your superior familiarity in the matchup because you usually have that as a character like Samus. And I know that there's kind of like I don't know if you're like a purist or if you're like a us knowing the matchup isn't better, shouldn't be something that we take into consideration, or
no, it's absolutely something you should take advantage of.
Yeah, because it's a thing, right? Like, we're not saying that, like, we have to base everything off of it, but I think you've kind of gone the other way, where you're basing everything off of, like, you're giving your opponent way too much credit.
I see.
Yeah, like, that Nair made sense to me because of, like, the position, where the fact that he's on the low platform, he probably does shield drop fair there. So trying to, like, do an interception there makes a lot of sense, but I just kind of, like, want to question, what if you had just, like, wave dash back, like, ever so slightly instead?
Yeah, I could have gotten a down smash there. I could have... Were they close to... Actually, let me see how close they were. Yeah, okay. I thought it was, like, oh, if I didn't have enough space to, like, wave dash back to avoid the fair.
So how big do you think Sheik's fair is?
Pretty big, but, like... Probably, like in the last third of the platform, you can cover, like, the ledge.
Okay, so let's take Sheik
like,
here.
The corner.
So, like, let's take Sheik here. How far do you think her fair goes?
From
like here? Yeah. So her arm is up like here. So like where? Okay. Let's draw the hitbox. Where do you think it goes?
Probably like around where that like flame is.
Oh, so like here?
Wait. Do you see like the little?
This one?
Red poof? No, the one above it.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of around like. Can you center the thing on there?
Yeah.
Kind of that area. Yeah.
You think it covers this whole area?
Oh no. Okay, probably a little bit.
Like what's the range? Like what's the max range? Like this is where she is.
Oh, the max range?
Yeah.
Probably around there probably.
Okay. This is what I would think too. And it hits about like here because it hits the top of her head and then swings down. So like starts here, goes like that. Cool. So how far do you think your down smash hits?
Like just a bit past the icon, like the Samus icon.
Yeah, so like around here.
Yeah.
I'd give it a little more. I'd probably put it there, but like same idea. Yeah. So your down smash basically, and it kind of hits like her foot is really big. Like the hitbox above her like toe, I think is quite large. So yeah, I think you definitely can outrange this fair.
Okay.
Like it's hard, but the other thing to consider is that her fair is smaller, like higher up on her, right? And she's coming down from this like fairly low platform. Yeah. So I think if you had just stayed still or like done a tiny movement back, you would have been actually totally fine there. Like you would have been able to counter hit. Because you basically made all that ground back by using your strong stuff. Like,
yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think will be the biggest obstacle to like playing more to your strengths?
The biggest obstacle?
Yeah.
I think the main thing is like, let me think about this.
Sure.
Properly.
I'll pause here.
I think I too, because I had a VOD review with Violence like pretty recently, and it was about the Falcon matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And the main conclusion is like it was like the similar thing where it was like I'm trying to intercept my opponent too often rather than just letting them miss.
Yeah.
Or like I'll put myself in the right spots, but we'll just like instead of like just waiting, down smashing, and getting my reward, I would just like try and play another mix up.
Yeah.
Like the main thing is like having in my game plan like okay, I can outspace Sheik fair. I can just let her throw it out and then just punish it with down smash, F tilt, up tilt,
Mm-hmm.
down tilt, all of those moves. And I think a lot of times like I either space a bit too far, where I end up cornering myself, where I'm like, oh, this isn't really that good of a spot,
Mm-hmm.
or I go. I think it's like just being more okay with like putting myself in kind of cornering myself a little bit if I can get a big reward off of it.
Okay. So it's a fear thing.
A little bit, and it's kind of like I don't know if I'd say it's fear, but it's definitely like uncomfortable.
Okay.
Like I kind of like making it so it's like okay, the Sheik is on the back foot. I don't like usually I try and like throw hitboxes at people.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely like kind of a weakness in this matchup. Where it's like, okay, I just want like the Sheik to jump into me, pretty much, or like make the Sheik kind of like.
So do you think that like
make
you
the
can't?
Sheik play more grounded, but I think I can definitely. Sorry, what'd you say?
I was gonna say. So do you think that like you have to play that passively? Like, do you think you have to play passively to do this?
In my head, yeah, but I don't think that's correct. But it feels like in my like what if I feel like if I try and play that way, I would feel like I'm playing passively. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. What if we tried to get behind Sheik more as part of this?
That seems. I haven't really thought. Well, I know like you can cross up Sheik, but it feels like. I guess that's a thing, yeah.
Yeah, because like if she short hops and we like dash and wave dash, if we like can get behind her with her wave dash, then like we're in a pretty good spot. Once we get kind of like inside her space too, like if we manage to get into that position, like dash attack cross up's quite good. Dash attack cross up is also pretty good on her shield. Like when we're dashing towards her or wave dashing towards her, it's pretty common for her to like shield as a response. Especially if we're using our crouch cancel, right? Because if we're if we're like walking or wave dashing and crouching at the end and like or dash canceling, like all of those things really require her to like grab us, like do a call out or jump or block, because she can't really just like put up her normals into it most of the time if we're using crouch effectively. So we kind of are putting her on the back foot, right? Okay. So like I think that there's a disconnect here. I think that we're like thinking that because we're crouching and because we're crouching and using counter hits, we have to be on the back foot. That's not necessarily true. We can push into their space and like exert the benefit of those like of crouch setups in their face. Because yeah, if she's willing to grab us when we move in, well, that becomes really easy for us because then we just move in with timings that allow us to like spot dodge her grab. We can move in and like just have her barely miss because by varying the wave dash, like we have lots of ways to like bait her if that's her response. Similarly, if her response is jumping, right, then yeah, we structure differently on that. It's harder because it's a better strat versus it, but that's also where the aerials come in. So The idea is that we're using our strengths to like kind of get Sheik to reveal how she plans to deal with us, and then we can like more accurately structure what we do from there, instead of just going in with the assumption that she's going to do this thing that we haven't really given her a reason to do.
Okay.
Does that make a little more sense? Or
yeah, that makes more sense. Because I'm like, I do run up shield quite a lot in like other matchups, or like I'm trying to like make them like not well, I guess make a mistake, or like, you know, try and force them, pretty much try and remove a lot of their options every time I.
I really liked this nair. This should have been another nair though, or like a down smash.
I think down tilt, yeah, down tilt.
Or down tilt. Yeah, actually, yeah, with her at 26, I like that a lot.
But she's a little bit below flat.
Yeah. So like, So what were you saying though about like using shield to like push into the opponent's space?
Well, a lot of like my Falco game plan, I think, is a lot of like, okay, I want to like. The main reason I would use shield in that matchup is I'm trying to maneuver into a better position and make them uncomfortable. And I think I can use crouch in this matchup kind of a similar way. It's like, okay, well, every time she lands, if I just crouch, she cannot use a tilt. And then that forces, okay, is she going to block? Is she going to jump? Is she going to roll away or grab?
Yeah, exactly. So you're getting, like, you're basically what you're doing is you're getting information off of, like, you're kind of gathering information, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I would say that's really good. The only thing about Sheik is that just because of how the character is designed, like, she kind of is pretty resistant to run-up shield being good. But, like, she's also, like, kind of bad versus crouch. So you have, like, a plan, like, your plan B is very good. The reason I want to stop at this point is because I want us to see, like, so with her coming off the platform like this, because I think this is a pretty common position that you probably fight her in, right? She's coming off the platform in some way, facing us, either facing us or not facing us. Are we in a good spot right now?
I am pretty happy with the spot.
Why are you happy with the spot?
One, she ends up putting herself in kind of a corner side plat. She's in between the areas where she's safe right now, so it's pretty easy to punish a landing.
Yeah.
Back air is like pretty likely to hit here. Forward air is like most effective here. Pretty much any aerial, you're likely to either straight up win or at least trade. And even if she like lands on a platform, you can like pressure with up tilts, bombs, like all, like when she hasn't really set up her wall. It seems like a pretty good situation for Samus.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is, remember how we like were talking about this kind of position in the previous moment? This is basically this kind of spot that you're building, that you're working towards when you're in the air, when you're dealing with her air game. Because like, these would be the needle trajectories. They don't really do anything to us, so they're not an issue. If we grab the protractor real quick, like her back air is kind of like hits this area here. Her fair kind of hits like around here, but like much smaller, so like kind of like that. Her up air hits like that. Her nair hits kind of like this blob in the middle of her, and then her weak back air hits here. So with all this in mind, she's not really in a position where she's able to like defend herself. Everything about this spot sucks. Her down air is too slow. It doesn't have a good disjoint. Like, it's just, she's got problems right now. So with this in mind, do we have to like do anything here? Like, where do your moves hit? Like, so you've got, what would your moves be? Like, you've got back air here.
Back air. Forward air.
Yeah, forward air is like primary.
If I turn around, forward air.
Yeah, forward air would hit like around here. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And then what else? Nair, I guess.
Nair, yeah.
Nair is kind of like a blob that hits around here, on either side. And what about down smash? What about up tilt? What about like forward tilt? What about
up tilt? Yeah, up tilt.
That's like, okay, cool. So up tilt's kind of, we'll do ground moves differently. So up tilt's like what, here and swings in front?
Yeah. Or
cool.
If I turn around and like.
Yeah, so it covers both sides. That's fine. Like, this is just a visual representation. But yeah, like we can flip this around. Where does down smash hit from here? And down tilt. Like, around here?
Yeah, around there, I think.
Okay, and they're both...
Down tilt's a little closer, but yeah.
Okay, we'll just summarize them with this blob. So, yeah, like this area, down tilt. And it hits on both sides, of course, but I'm not going to mirror it, just to keep it organized. And what about forward smash?
Chest height around where the...
Around with the...
Purple blob, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Purple, middle of the purple blob, yeah.
Yeah, this is also kind of like roughly where forward tilt hits. I think forward tilt's a little longer, but like something like that.
A little longer, yeah.
Okay, so with all this in mind, we have a pretty good amount of threats here. So, what I'm wondering here is, how does this go wrong? Like, how does this position go wrong? Like, how can she beat us here, even though we have all our good stuff?
One thing that can go wrong is I jump too high into her bear.
Okay. Yeah, like if you're here and you go straight up and she just comes down with back air, yeah, I can see how that would go sideways for sure. What about needles? Do needles ever like mess us up?
It can if I jump up towards the diagonal, directly towards the diagonal.
Or if we play too passively, like if we wait too long and she just like drops them, because this is like this line is reducing as she falls. Like that's important to note. So like these are coming down as she's descending. So that's a way things can go wrong. So at what height do we want to have made our decision, do you think, generally speaking? Like here.
A little bit higher.
Like here?
Yeah, around there.
Are you using the bottom or the top of the ruler?
The top.
Okay, cool. This is a little high for me. I would probably put it like here. Maybe
really?
Maybe about here. Yeah. So why do you have it higher?
I feel like if it's too low, I can't react with like a... Or I can't... it feels like in my head it would be too late.
To do
like
what?
If it's like right as she's about to land, wouldn't that just be like, okay, if I decide to commit with the jump, then she's already got her shield up.
Okay. That's fair.
Even with like an up tilt, it feels slow.
What if we go for like what if we go for something else? Like what if we went
like
for
shield pressure?
No. Like what if we went for like down tilt on her landing? Or down smash on her landing, right? Because those are options.
Fun,
yeah.
Yeah, if this was like FD or something, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, because the other thing you're here to remember is like, and I think the reason why yours is higher is you're guarding the side platform, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Cool. But depending on how she does her drift, she might not actually be able to get here, especially if she turn around needles, right? So that is an important thing here too. So that's actually what way is she facing, and whether or not she's doing the needles matters quite a bit. So the reason I'm breaking this situation down is because once you get into, I think that this is the spot you want to be in as Samus versus her. But even here, like it's still got like there's still a lot going on. But I think that like it's clear that like we're still at a pretty significant advantage for being in this spot, and especially when we're at low percents and we can just tank all these aerials and then like just counter hit after, with most of her like free fall aerial heights. I think that this is the type of spot that it makes sense to play towards. I do like that you're considering this side platform. That was something I didn't keep in mind. That said, I think that we also want to keep in mind that she wants to get to the ground too, because the side platform doesn't really solve her problem, you know? Because even if we're late on the weight, we can also walk over and then get under her again, which she still doesn't want. So, just kind of like getting us to think about the situations more broadly in terms of like where she can go, as opposed to just like what she will do. Because I think that if there's one takeaway I have so far, it's what she will do is not something we know most of the time. Not until the situation is actually unfolding and we have the information from like how far she's fallen, what way she's facing, things like that to actually guide our decision.
Yeah.
That was a very ambitious dash attack.
Yeah. I thought, yeah.
What do you think would have worked better there?
In that position?
Yeah.
I could have repositioned a side platform, or I could have just did a zoning forward tilt.
What do you get from the side? So the forward tilt makes sense. We're just like kind of go forward and test the waters. That makes sense. Like you could do movement. Like walk forward, wave dash back, kind of like hug style stuff. That all makes sense. Tell me more about this side platform thing, though. Like, why does that appeal?
Why does that appeal? If they go for like run up like that, like I feel like most of the time, a lot of Sheiks, like if they're gonna pressure the corner, they kind of do it from like using tilts, using dash attack, grab.
Okay.
If I go on the side platform there, I can just missile and get back center stage. Would be my logic for doing like a jump here.
Gotcha. Could we also, like, is there any other way that we could do it? Could we, like, run off fast fall double jump or anything like that, or is that too risky?
Run off fast fall.
Double jump
like
back.
Fast fall off the ledge?
Yeah, like, run off the stage, double jump back up, like, the fast fall when you're going off.
They kind of do like a ledge dash, or like a aerial interrupt kind of thing?
Well, I'm thinking we could use that to get a faster missile out.
That's true, yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's good, but it's an idea.
I think the missile, like, the issue with the missile is, I think... Yeah, I think I'd have to do it. Like, you'd have to go off the ledge, or you have to grab ledge and missile, I think.
Okay.
I think doing it without Galint is, like...
Okay.
A little risky.
But that is another option. Like, we could potentially take the edge if we don't want to, like, deal with her boost grabbing or something. Because if she does come forward and she, like, boost grabs, and at the time that we grab the edge, we just ledge hop down air her, and we're happy anyway, but... Yeah,
you get, like, 40.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure. at this percent, we might just kill her, right?
Yeah.
But, so, basically, how would we break that down here? Because, like, these two kind of have similar threat zones, don't they?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, because, like, they both kind of work with, like, these kind of, like, box-shaped movement. Like, these very distinct boxes when they're on the ground. Because they kind of have, like, their forward tilt range, which would be to about there, like, here. On her. And then, like, for Sheik, it's, like, what? Like, basically the same thing relative to her? It's, like, around here?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's a little shorter range, but...
Yeah, maybe, like, here.
Around the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, they kind of have... Because they have such similar ranges, what is the point... What's the distance you figure that you have to watch to, like, kind of have an idea on what she's actually doing? Like, where, at what point here has she committed to a line of play, you figure?
Probably, like, a little past, like, the halfway point between, like, the boxes, I think.
Gotcha. So does it make sense for us to do, and like, for us to, like, really commit if she's not, like, doing anything before she gets... It's about here, like, roughly. So if that's the case, does it make sense for us to really commit to a play before that point?
Yeah, I probably could just wait there, wait and crouch.
Well, I actually really like that you moved forward. I don't think that the dash forward is a commitment.
Oh.
So, like, here, watch this. She just waits here, but what if you had just, like, wave dashed back slightly?
Yeah, that could have worked. Yeah, I would have dodged the boost grab and the dash attack usually.
And this player was obviously waiting for you because they power shielded your dash attack. So that would also check for that too, wouldn't it? Because then coming out of that, you're actionable coming out of a wave dash. He has to get out of his shield. So then you've restricted his range just by doing a bait. So, I think that I would agree with all of that. I would say that there's kind of like a line of scrimmage around here that we just kind of have to, like, respect somewhat. And we're kind of like, because if we look at, like, when his reaction takes place, right? We're going to speed this up so we get back to the spot. Okay, so let's... Like, it's around here when you enter about around the tree that he actually does this, right? So, which is also where we've drawn our line to be. So what I would say here is this is the point where a lot of baits occur, because it like grazes the other spot would be where her boost grab hits, so like around here. This would be the other spot where I'd consider baits. But the idea here is that, like, what we're doing is we're teasing the spots that he's using as possible alerts to when he's supposed to act. And then we're capitalizing on that if he overextends, or if he does a small thing like that shield, then we're working with the minor advantage we get after that. But yeah. This means these are general, but that means what we try not to do is just charge in all, like, that dash attack can work, but usually that dash attack works as a result of us doing the rest of the system well. Because you can see how that would work out, right? Because if we're constantly baiting him by, like, every time we, if every time we move forward, we do some kind of, like, bait to get him to do something like that shield or like, to go all in, and then he's wrong, and then he starts getting in, like, he's like, okay, not doing that, we're not gonna, like, when he comes forward, we just don't care. And then we dash attack him. Like, that's the type of conditioning that's needed for that play to work, I think. But it's more about understanding how... But the big thing that has to start is we have to understand how the two characters are interacting with each other to begin with, and what spaces are important to them. The reason I think Sheik is at advantage here is mostly just that you're in the corner, and then her boost grab hits further than your longest approaching, like your longest good approaching tool. So she just has a little bit more range than you because she has center stage. But the rules are still basically the same for her as they are for you. Do you see how that works?
Yeah, like, I kind of committed to the dash attack where the only possible way it would have worked was, like, if she had committed to a forward-facing, like, a forward approach. Kind of way too early.
The other thing you can do that's pretty good against her in general, if you want to take a more aggressive line, it doesn't work here because of your percent as well, but, like, if you're at lower, running up into a crouch here, outside of her, you just have to make sure you're outside of her, like, immediate standing grab range. And that's a pretty good check too. So yeah, running crouch here, and then the other one would be just playing around with movement in relation to this line. Because yeah, once she starts reacting to what we're doing, yeah, what comes next will kind of, like, present itself, but we need to actually get her to the point where where she has to figure out what comes next. Because yeah. Like that, all of this was good. So after this, do you see what you do here? Like, you come up here with this ledge dash, I think. Or no, you land on stage, you spot dodge, and you just get through her, and then you actually get stage position back. I thought that was really, really, really well done. Similarly here, we're staying too close to her, but good missile. Okay. Nice forward smash using the Yoshi slope. You love to see it. Because yeah, I think it's, like, harder to omps attack or they can't do it or something at the same.
If they omps attack, you can forward tilt.
I thought they couldn't do it as easily on Yoshi's because of the slope.
Oh, I was like, yeah, even if you could, like, there's still, like, the forward smash still covers, like, the omps attack options.
True. So talk to me about recovery. What are you trying to do when it comes to recovery in this one?
That one was
less than ideal?
Yeah.
So what would have been
I think the main thing, like, the way Samus usually wants to recover against Sheik is you want to kind of get past the needle wall. That's the way I kind of visualize it. There's, like, the area, if you can kind of hug the wall, then you can just get to ledge. Or go for, like, a lower grapple to try and dodge the needles. There's a couple of setups where you, like, air dodge into the needles and then just try and get height that way. But generally the more consistent recovery is just, like, okay, get past the needles and then just, like, get to ledge.
Okay. So could we have just, like, grappled lower?
Yeah, in hindsight, absolutely grappling lower was the play.
Okay, cool. So yeah, because that lines up with my understanding too, which is get past the needle wall, and because the needles, like, have that space, because of how the needle wall is shaped, yeah, like, there was more space below it than above it for us to work with. So yeah, fair enough. And yeah, Yoshi's has the nice wall for us to work with too. So that was, yeah, okay, cool. I like that back air. Like, I'm curious about why the up tilt after.
So down smash, grab ledge, up tilt. Usually the up tilt is there to cover instant, like, when people kind of try and challenge and don't go to ledge.
Okay.
It's sort of like, it's kind of a chump check where it's like, if it does hit, you get a kill way earlier than normal.
Yeah. So you're basically trying to check the jump, like some kind of jump.
Yeah. I think I just did it a bit late here.
I guess for me, I'm almost wondering. Okay.
Check his S smash.
I'm actually realizing that we could have actually just grabbed the edge on this initial interaction. Yeah, like here.
Off the back air or the down smash?
Off the down smash.
Oh.
Because, like, if you do another one... Like, I think that if you had done, instead of walking, another wave dash, I think you can actually get there. But maybe not. It's close. I guess for me, the way I look at this is I don't want her... a lot of times I don't even want her hitbox to necessarily be coming out. What if we, like, low angle forward tilted here? And just, like, kind of, like, tried to bonk her as she's coming up.
The only issue with forward tilt is a little less disjointed, so it's more likely to trade.
Okay.
The thing is with up tilt is usually... I think forward smash, like, if I'm trying to go a little bit faster, it's probably like a daft angle, or downward angled forward smash. But yeah, I think... Like, the main thing... Okay, so is this after kind of in this situation where she's grabbing ledge?
Yeah, so, like...
So off of the ledge... Okay, off of back air, sorry. So off of back air, so she DIs a little bit away. And then, okay, as she's rising up... Oh, I see. Yeah, I think daft... daft could work there.
Yeah, because I'm thinking we just, like, kick her here.
Yeah.
Like her hitbox is right now here, so it's not even, like, in front of her. It's not in front of her until, like, she's actually swinging, until she's swinging here, and then, like, on the next frame, on the next 2 frames around here. So what I'm thinking is we just put the forward tilt above her for her to, like, jump into. We're not even, like, we're not even really interacting with her, like, fair hitbox. We're trying to avoid doing that. The other thing that could work is, like, maybe down tilt, because I think down tilt would hit around here. So that but it's laggier, so, like, that's kind of the beware about it. But yeah, I think that the idea of, like, just nudging her and grabbing edge is pretty good.
Yeah, I think the forward tilt... I don't like down tilt here because it's, like, it's harder to combo Sheik.
Okay.
Well, actually, I guess she's already used her jump, so...
Yeah, like, we're covering her jumping. But I would say that, like, we're much less equipped to dodge, like, to deal with, like, maybe, like, wall jump bear. If she, like, if she does, like, a trick on her way back, right? Because forward tilt just has much less cooldown. So I think what we have is, like, we have, like, a high reward option, then we have, like, a more reliable one. So, and there's probably more stuff we can do, but the idea is that, like, yeah, we have the safe one is probably the forward tilt. Maybe if she's at a more comboable percent, or if, like, we have a good guess on what, like, we have a good, like, call on what she's gonna do, or how she's gonna do that jump, then we have down tilt as well. Yeah, like, that's the way I'm looking at it. Nice recovery. You did the duck. I don't know if it's actually called the duck, but I like thinking of it like the duck.
I just saw it somewhere, and...
Oh, he went for that? Wow. This guy. Like, this is, like, the defense... This part of what you're doing so far has been fine. Like, you're just doing all the things you should be doing, like, you should be doing. There's probably ways to, like, optimize it with better DI and whatever, but it's just, yeah, Sheik advantage state, you just kind of have to hold on. You have to hold on and see if you can find a better spot somewhere, or trick her at some point. Do you find Yoshi's is, like, an easier matchup than, like, Fountain of Dream? Like, an easier map than Fountain, or what?
It's kind of more of a I think it's kind of a gamble. Like, sometimes, like, I've had quite a, like, more success with Yoshi's in this matchup, like, as a counter pick.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually it's like, okay, if I can get, like, favorable scraps, then it's like, okay, like, I can put the Sheik in kind of an uncomfortable position where crouch cancel's more effective.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of my logic with it.
I
did think about if I could have just went Stadium, I think would have been... Actually, I forgot what he banned. Maybe he banned Stadium.
Probably banned Stadium. So, I'm pausing here because I want to ask about, like, when Sheik is shielding on the platform. So, what are your options when Sheik is shielding here?
Spaced aerial. You could up tilt. You can go for bomb pressure.
Okay.
You can go for.
So which of those are like? What's your? So let's say you want to be safe. Which one is the safe option?
The safest one would be to go for an aerial that try and go for an aerial that might shield poke, or like trying to catch them out of a shield drop.
Okay, and this
timing mix up.
True. So like, what would be that aerial?
Back air.
Cool. So our ideal footing is probably like here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's say that she sees. So what can go wrong? So I think you're right. I'm just gonna get that out of the way. I agree with this in general. Like using the back air here makes total sense, because it just covers like the relevant area extremely effectively. And the thing is, we can kind of like also do delay tricks with it because it's powerful, so people will like hold block on it. I feel like if we jump forward, they don't really feel the same need to, because getting hit by like fair and nair and up air just doesn't really do as much as back air. So there's more threat intrinsic to this situation, which is quite nice. So with that in mind, what can she do about that?
About delayed back air?
Yeah.
Light shield's an option for sure. You can just do a normal hard shield and then just kind of reset. In terms of counterattacking, if it's like a spaced bear, you can't really do too much.
Cool.
Like, shield drop fair is pretty unreliable for Sheik, if Samus spaces it correctly.
Yeah, and if she jumps up to needle, then like we can just double jump back air, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's likely she blocks here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's good versus like light shield? So do we have anything that's good versus light shield here?
I mean, you can do like a aerial interrupt land and like go for grounded shield pressure, like with jabs and platform cancel aerials. You can go for bomb pressure to try and like lower the shield. You
Yeah.
just go up and grab, but that's kind of a big commitment, and I don't think it kills. Maybe it kills on the corner here.
Okay. But basically, like, so what are the purpose of like bombs and things like that?
To either force a shield poke, shield break, or mess up the timing so when they're trying to escape it, they get hit with like a nair, down smash, or F smash.
Cool.
Kind of thing.
And you could probably like move under her and then like look for a shield poke with up tilt after like spaced back air, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, usually like my bomb pressure is usually just like I usually just use the bomb so I can quickly land, and then usually do like a mix of jab pressure, platform cancel nair, or F smash.
That sounds really
So
good.
it's usually a way to kind of get into, because Samus shield pressure when she's on a platform is like by far her best shield pressure.
Okay, cool. So like this is a good level 1 play then with the back air, and it allows us to like basically force her to shield or like give her more reasons to shield. One of the things she might do about this back air is she might try to like drop down here to like avoid the back air entirely. In that case, we just don't back air. Like our mix up is
up tilt it.
Yeah, like we just basically stay here. Like we stay here, and then as she comes down, we like down smash her, we up tilt her, we dash attack her, we just do something. Like depends on how she's facing and other factors, but we play the ground. For that reason, it could also make argued that it makes sense to move to this spot, like to the spot from our original position, if we have once we have adequate information that she's like, or a good idea that she's going here, or that she uses this escape route. And then the other nice thing about that is it also puts us in position for the bomb pressure stuff because we're more aligned with it. So I think that like this kind of system is what we need to be like looking at like a little more. I think that we need to understand what our options in relation to her on platforms are. This could just be nerves, but so far, like when I see how you deal with her on platforms, it's mostly just jumping up and nairing her. And I know that and from that conversation, I know you know better than that. So
yeah, I think I was like, I mean, tilt is like kind of a dumb excuse, but I was like,
it is a real reason though.
Yeah, I was just like, oh man, I'm like playing so like bad. I'm like dropping everything.
Well, and yeah, like that's frustrating. How can we what is your experience with like mentally resetting?
I think I'm usually okay at it. I think
I mean, it's bad. I used to have a reputation at the local of losing game fives, which isn't like, it's not necessarily a good thing.
No, it sucks. Like, being that
Yeah.
guy, like, I was that guy until I got really good. I was that guy for a long time, so I get it. Like, it sucks, but at the same time, so why
I
are
usually just try and focus on I usually try and focus on my breath, or try and not think of. If I try and not think about anything, then it's like inevitably you will be thinking, oh man, I'm gonna lose again. Like, oh, I'm playing so bad. But if I purposely focus on my breathing, it kind of calms. It kind of helps.
do you
In
try
terms of
do you try not to like look at the emotion that's there? Because usually it's like anxiety, fear, nervousness. Could be a whole bunch of them. Sometimes sadness, anger. Do you try to like not look at that? Is that what the purpose of the breathing is?
Yeah, it's sort of distracted from that, and it kind
Hmm.
of helps me just focus just on what's happening in the game than necessarily the outside factors.
Okay. Have you ever tried acknowledging it and then doing the breathing?
Um, Not consciously, but it's like I know it's there. Like,
Okay.
okay, I need to reset.
Okay.
Like, I know, there's a reason why I'm thinking I need to reset.
So if we
That
know
makes
it's
sense.
there anyway, why don't we just acknowledge it consciously?
Okay. Well, I feel like I just get distracted, and then I'm thinking about being tilted, as opposed to oh, what is my opponent doing?
Is that an assumption? Because we haven't actually tried this
Well, I've done
before.
that before.
Okay. And that's always what happens?
That's what's happened before, yeah.
Okay. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't work. But I find it generally works well to acknowledge them. And again,
Yeah,
you're a different person, so you might have a different experience, but I find that most feelings just want to be heard, and then they're usually pretty open to like us working with them.
yeah. I think there was. Sorry, I realized we're kind of running a bit over time. I don't mean to.
This is why I charge the big bucks. It's so I don't have to count minutes. So we're good. Don't worry. If we go over like that, I'm fine with that. If you have somewhere to be, I'll be respectful of that, of course. Do you like if we spend another 3 minutes on this? Do you think that'll ruin
That'll
your
be
day?
fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No, no, no. I don't have to leave until 30 minutes. So.
Cool. So if we spend another 3 or 5 to finish this, then yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
talk
there
what
was
we can say. Yep.
There was a time I think I was playing. I think it was Elliot, or there was it was one of the BCPR players. There was a really good player,
Yeah.
and I remember I beat them game one, and I was like, okay, that's good. And then I was about to beat them game two. I was up 3 stocks to 1, and then all I was thinking about was don't think about winning game two. Just close it out. Just close it out. And then I think I was thinking about more okay, don't think about that. And then I'm like, how did I even win? How was I winning before? Like, I'm just getting whooped now. And then it's kind of lasted through the rest of the set. I'm like, how was I even winning before? How was I so dominant the first half of the set? And I feel like when I think about what I'm feeling, it's kind of because how much do you think about that, what your opponent's doing? Like, how much of it is conscious and how much of it is subconscious?
Oh, I very seldom think. I think, I would say I probably make about 3 or 4, like 2 to 4 observations about my opponent, per stock. And then it slows down, but they're really quick ones. I don't really dwell on them. It's just things like, oh, okay, that was I was like, oh, okay, he forward tilted there, or okay, he went low again, or
Yeah.
okay, like things like that. I don't really think too much about beyond that because I kind of trust myself to know what the answer is to those things anyway. And if I don't know the answer, then I trust myself to be able to either come up with one or I know I'll figure it out later. Like when I look it over again. But I would say that you're describing about don't think about how you won game 2. That's kind of exactly my point. So what I'd say is what you're doing there is you are reacting to how you're feeling, but you are not acknowledging how you are feeling, because when you suppress it like that, what you're really doing is you're saying you're denying yourself your own reality, because you probably were very excited about the prospect of being able to beat Elliot that day, weren't you? Right?
Yeah, I was pretty.
And you felt great. And then you are putting a lid on that. And then the emotion gets upset, so then it decides to clog your entire mental stack, and it's the only thing that you can think of that entire set for the rest of it, and then everything falls apart. What I'm suggesting we do is, instead of doing that, I'm saying we say, you know what, I feel really good about this. I feel great. Elliot's an amazing opponent, and very tough, so I can't coast. I can't, take it, I can't, get carried away now. But yeah, I feel good. Let's do this. Let's see what happens. That is how I would approach it, because you see the difference, right? One of them is a prediction. The other is just an observation about where I'm at, where my game state, what my game state is mentally. Where I feel great. I feel like I'm on a roll, but I can't get carried away with that because I know that's happened before. So I'm just gonna see what happens, and he's a good player. It's just observations about your setting, and then I think that once we do that and we acknowledge that, and once we confront that we are where we are, it's much easier for us to get we're never removed from reality. We're just we're there the whole time, and I think that's exactly what helps us prevent getting carried away and those things from clogging, because they're feelings. Once they're felt, they usually go away naturally.
Yeah, I find when I'm playing my best, I almost don't think about it. It never comes into my head that's oh wow, I'm about to win. It's just kind of I'm playing the game. So when it kind of does, when I'm sort of conscious of it, then it's kind of throws me off.
But this is how this is how we get back to that, though, because when we try to suppress them, one way or another, they're going to be felt. We can either do it on our schedule or we can do it on theirs. That's how I look at it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So with our last minute, how do you feel this went? Was this useful? Was it okay? Any constructive feedback?
My brain's a bit tired, so I think it's a good thing. I'm there's oh yeah, there's a lot of situations that I just don't think about in those ways. I don't usually think of these are exactly Sheik's ranges and the hitbox shapes and geometry and all that.
Yeah, so it's a lot.
So I think, which is really good, because I think what I want to gain from a coaching session is a different perspective of what I'm doing wrong.
What I could
be improving on.
There we go. Okay, cool. If that's the case, I really enjoyed this. If you want to book again with me, let me know. I would be happy to do this again. And with that, we are a little over time, but don't worry about it. And I hope you have a great rest of your whatever you've got planned in the afternoon. Sound good?
Thank you so much.
All right, later.